Good morning, everyone. It is 9:15-ish Central Time, and you are in the right place if you are here for the Sunday morning Science of Mind class at CSLDallas. Now, I know for sure the people who are physically in the room know that they are at CSLDallas. And I'm kind of guessing that if you found your way to our Zoom room or our Facebook page or our YouTube, however you found us, that you too know. But I always feel like I need to say that, maybe because I need to remind myself where I am. Every Sunday morning, we gather and we read a little bit from the Science of Mind textbook written by Ernest Holmes, and then we explore it. And so what I love most, and what people tell me over and over again that they love most about this time together, is that you get to take a little chunk and then think about, how does that apply to me? Or, wait a minute, I don't really understand that at all. So we will have time for questions or comments, or for you to share your examples as we go through this very quick 40-ish to 45 minutes. So I invite you to join me in just simply taking a deep breath and centering, exhaling everything that's happened before this very moment, because we are here now and we are ready to dive in. We are starting today on page 160, the technique of acquiring faith. It is in the middle of the page on page 160, and we're in this chapter on faith, chapter 10, where Ernest Holmes has been walking us through what does faith really mean, so that we can think about what does faith look like in what we do and in what we say. And the last couple of weeks, we were in Vitalizing Faith, which was all about how do we ramp up our faith, or how do we power up our faith? What do we do to give it vital energy? And there were a lot of good examples that came out of that. And at the end of that section, on the bottom of page 159, Ernest Holmes reminds us, pure faith is a spiritual conviction. So, and that's important for where we're going today. Pure faith is a spiritual conviction. It's the acquiescence of the mind and the embodiment of an idea. Letting go of the human thinking and truly embodying that which we say we have faith in. So, this section is about the technique of how we acquire or build or sustain our faith. One cannot be a good student of the science of mind who is filled with fear and confusion. One must keep themselves in a state of equilibrium, in a state of poise, peace, and confidence, in a state of spiritual understanding. By spiritual understanding is not meant anything strange or unnatural, but merely the belief in goodness must be greater than any apparent manifestation of its opposite. It is this science of faith we are seeking to uncover, a definite technique that will conduct our minds through a process of thought, if necessary, to that place which the sublime minds of all ages have reached by direct intuition. Repeating, top of paragraph. One cannot be a good student of the science of mind who is filled with fear and confusion. Stop. Hard stop. So let's translate that. If you are operating or if you are being guided by fear, or if you are going through your day and you're feeling, or you're constantly saying, I'm confused, I don't know what to do with my life, or I'm confused, I don't know what to do about this problem, then you are not applying what we're teaching in Science of Mind. You are not using faith in order to stay in a state of equilibrium, next sentence, or stay in a state of poise, peace, and confidence, which is just a reflection of spiritual understanding. Understanding the spiritual laws. They're here to work for you, with you. And if you are believing that, and if that's what you have faith in, then you will be demonstrating poise, peace, and confidence. By spiritual understanding, it does not mean anything strange or unnatural, but merely spiritual understanding is the belief that goodness must be greater than any apparent manifestation of its opposite. Translation: yeah, sometimes things are messed up. Yes, sometimes life is hard. And that apparent manifestation of the opposite of good, sure, it's happening in our human experience. I can see it, feel it, I can experience it, but I'm not confused. It's not permanent. It's not absolute. It's not the way that Spirit has created the world to be. Therefore, I put my faith in the absolute, and I keep moving forward toward that which is good, that which I intend, that which I want to have. So in this first paragraph about the technique of acquiring faith, Ernest Holmes is just reminding us that as a student of Science of Mind, I can't be filled with fear and confusion, and I keep going back to, or centering myself in this grounded place of the belief that goodness must be greater than whatever I'm seeing here. And that's a great affirmation, right? Goodness is greater, or my goodness is greater than anything that looks different from good, right? And you can even leave that last part off. You're just reminding yourself, my goodness is greater, my goodness is greater, my goodness is the truth. So yes, I'm going to be asking you if you have examples of that in your life when you've used faith and to return to goodness, but I'm going to read the second paragraph before we open it up for questions and comments. There is no one who believes more in faith, or more in prayer, or more in the necessity of the divine will being done than the person who practices daily the Science of Mind. They have relieved their mind of the morbid sense that the will of God can be the will of suffering. For if there were a suffering God, and if we are eternal beings, then we would suffer through all eternity. A suffering God is an impossibility. We suffer because we are not in both conscious and subjective communication with the affirmative side of the universe. All human misery is a result of ignorance, and nothing but knowledge can free us from this ignorance and its effect. Woo, that's a word. Yeah, I don't know if I want to read it again or not, because it's like, okay, take it in one more time. Quote, there is no one who believes more in faith, more in prayer, or more in the necessity of the divine will being done than one who practices daily the science of mind. I have relieved my mind of the morbid sense that the will of God can be the will of suffering. For if there were a suffering God, and if we are eternal beings, then we should suffer through all eternity. So a suffering God is an impossibility. I suffer because I am not in both conscious and subjective communication with the affirmative side of the universe. All human misery is a result of ignorance, and nothing but knowledge can free us from this ignorance and its effect. All human misery is the result of ignorance of the truth, ignorance of spiritual law, ignorance of the power of God, ignorance of the intention for good to happen from whatever is going on, ignorance of the individual power to be in response to whatever is happening, ignorance of between choosing consciously good and allowing subconsciously misalignment and discord, because I'm not thinking about it, I'm not choosing, I'm not remembering. So yes, for those of you virtual, someone in the room said, mic drop. And I think this is one of the sentences in the Science of Mind textbook that definitely qualifies for that. All human misery is a result of ignorance, and nothing but knowledge can free us from this ignorance and its effects. And I'm not going to break it down, but I am going to include the next paragraph, and then we're going to go to engagement. Quote, as students of the science of mind, we find in the remarkable character of Jesus a great impetus toward faith and conviction. The centurion came to Jesus and asked him to heal his servant. And Jesus said, go thy way. And as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. The centurion had what we call a mental equivalent of divine authority. In the realm in which he lived, he was accustomed to speak his word with authority. He accepted the word of Jesus as having authority on the invisible plane. Jesus said, I have not found so great faith, no, not in all Israel. And so I know some of you are hearing it, believe it and you can achieve it. Some of you are hearing, that's right, if I believe it, then it must happen. But as an expression of faith, the centurion was accustomed to speaking his word in the physical, but he went to Jesus because he believed Jesus could speak the word and have change happen on the invisible. And what Jesus said was basically, you already believe it can be done, so it is done. And it's a message again to us that how we acquire our faith is by exercising our faith. How we acquire our faith is exercising our faith and not acting from ignorance or from not ignorance of not knowing, but also ignoring what we do know about our own power and our alignment with spirit. So that might give us a little something to talk about. I don't know. Maybe none of it relates to any of you at all. And if that's the case, we'll go back and read some more. But Ryan, how can people participate?
Well, thank you, and good morning to you, Dr. Tracy Brown, and good morning to everybody here in the room. So glad to have you here in community with us. And to all our virtual attendees online all over the globe, welcome to you, and make sure to say hello and where you're watching us from today. I see we have St. Simon's Island in the house. What's up, St. Simon's? Good to have you with us. And yes, this is an engaging discussion, so we'd love to hear from you. For the folks here in the room, Darlene's got the microphone, and she'll help hand it out to anybody here. And then I see we have a couple of hands raised up on our Zoom room, so we can go ahead and have them come into the room. And for the rest of you, if you do have a question on Zoom, hit the raise your hand icon. It's located down below. And for the folks who are joining us through Facebook, make sure to leave your questions and comments in the chat, and we can bring those into the room as well. So how about we switch it up and go online first, and then we can come back here into the room. All right, I see Carmen. Carmen, she's online with us today. Hey, Carmen.
Good morning, Carmen.
Good morning. I was going to do that. Good morning.
We can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Oh, I didn't have a question. I didn't have my hand up, did I? If I did, I apologize.
Okay. Well, go back to sipping your coffee, and we're going to go to the next person here.
Carmen is actually really on vacation, not just physically, but mentally as well. Put your raised hand down. Who's next?
And we got Sandra. Sandra, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and say hello? Hello, Sandra. Well, it looks like we have two people online who are playing with our raise hand feature. So how about we go here into the room? Does anybody?
A comment, a
got
question?
Darlene. Yeah. Go ahead.
Say your
I'm
name.
Darlene. Since we've been talking about this, two things have come up for me about faith. Two words of a believe in or believe of. And I've been kind of seeing how that feels in my body about, am I believing in God or am I believing of God? And how that resonates with me is that the in God makes me feel like I'm searching for something, that I'm not a part of it. The of God makes me feel in my body that I am a part of this thing, and so therefore I can believe that it already is, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to wrestle with.
It makes perfect sense to wrestle with. I'm going to go two different directions and hope I can remember the second one after I start the first one. So I'm going to come back to believe in and believe of in a moment. So often, especially in certain classes that we teach, we really spend some time in the conversation about, do you have faith in God, or are you living as an example of the faith of God? And it's similar to what you were saying, Darlene, but it's a little bit different. So, and in both cases, we individually have to know what is our come from, right? Where am I coming from as I'm using the language? So on this idea of, do I have faith in God, or do I demonstrate the faith of God? Many of us, having been raised in a different pattern or a different denomination or a different religious or spiritual background, were taught we should have faith in a God that is outside of ourselves, that is going to swoop in and make everything all right, or is going to whoosh in and kick you out of the kingdom, right, and punish you. And so many of us grew up with, well, you've got to have faith in God, that this thing outside of you, this entity outside of you, is going to make everything happen, good or bad. But the faith of God, if we talk about faith as a quality of God, as a quality of spirit, it's that faith or faithfulness to spiritual law that creates peace. Like, oh, the faith of God is that everything is this goodness that Ernest Holmes talks about, because that's how it's been created to be. And so that faith of operating and choosing and responding to whatever happens in the faith, or being an example of faith, is a recognition that Spirit and I are one, and that I am actually living all of these spiritual qualities. And so the faith of God is within and is shown or demonstrated by my actions. So belief in, do I have a belief in God, or do I have the belief of God? It's very, very similar, except belief still feels like, right, am I believing in some external power, or do I believe it is within me and I am demonstrating it? So yes, do we have to wrestle with it a lot? Yes, we do, because our brains have been programmed to be very binary. It's either this or this. It's right or it's wrong. And in this case, we don't do anything in belief or faith that is external, which is a great way for me to also say the theme for today in service, in our celebration service, is all about reminding ourselves that Spirit and I are one, that there is a complete integration between that which is the absolute ultimate infinite and that which is finite and living with those same qualities within us. Ryan?
Well, we're going to give the online audience one more try, shall we? Okay, I see Anita has her hand up. So, Anita, can you unmute and say hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm awake and aware, and so I'll score one for online.
Woohoo!
You know, so in this topic this morning, so what it reminds me of, right, is that I've been practicing the science to mind and living it for almost 40 years now. And it is a practice.
Yes.
It's not something that you just listen to and just go on up and down the road. And so, you know, while some would say, well, you know, you're pretty experienced in doing all this, but, you know, I have my times when I'm like, darn, I really am human, right? And have those human experiences and have those times of fear, right, well up in me.
Yes.
And when I take a moment to stop and realize that that's what's happening, then, you know, my practice is taking a breath to recenter myself, because I remind myself that every breath I take is the breath of God. And that fills me from within so that it can spill to the without. And so even in today's climate, when there's so much going on, so, you know, the shootings and whatever that's happening in the world, that in my humanness, I just shake my head or shed a tear. And the only thing that I can come back to is that even in this, good must
Must
come
come
of it. Because as Emma Curtis Hopkins said, my good is my God and my God is my good. And so there's always got to be good and more good happening.
Always.
So just as maybe just something that's simple and easy for people to take,
Yes.
and to use it and to practice to help them navigate, what's going on in our world today. So.
Woo, thank you so much. And I'm going to invite everyone to take up the affirmation. Every breath I take is the breath of God. Yeah, you can say it with me. Every breath I take is the breath of God. Every breath I take is the breath of God. Every breath I take is the breath of God, and so it is. Like that reminder, Anita, thank you so much, because yes, Ernest Holmes never, ever tries to get us to believe that we're not human and that crap is never going to happen. If you do if you do science of mind techniques and practices, whoo, your life will never have an upset. You will never, ever have anyone misunderstand you. You will never, ever have someone treat you rudely. No, what it is, when the human stuff is happening to you personally or collectively, there's some place to go back to get back on track. And that affirmation is one that I'm going to try to put into my mind, because I too will go to, and the practice of taking a breath, it does help me. But to add the affirmation, this breath is the breath of God, or every breath I take is the breath of God, just adds a little bit more to it. So thanks for that, Anita. Anybody else in the room? You have a comment? You have a question?
So, this is Darlene, but while I'm handing this, it takes me back to the breath of God, and in that I settle.
Yes.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Brian, and it's wonderful to be here. I've had a couple of great epiphanies already this morning. Thank you. The first is, thank goodness this is about faith, because faith I got. Faith, I have radical faith, and I was really, glad. It's not a criticism, but I've only been a student of the science of mind for about 2 years now, a little over 2 years. And it was my idea that I just had to think harder. And the science, as a scientist, as an academic, it's not about thinking harder. And so now when we talk about wisdom and knowledge and lack of ignorance, I'm adding that faith component. And voila. So if you wouldn't mind commenting on that a little bit.
I would love to comment on that. So one of the things, if you go in the glossary in the Science of Mind, at the back of the Science of Mind textbook, part of Ernest Holmes' definition of faith is that it is a mental something, it's a mental attitude that is so fully embodied that the subconscious cannot refute it or question it or something like that. And so it's like a lot of times, yes, it's not just thinking more or thinking harder. It's not just dropping information into your brain for your brain to process. It is that you so embody it, that you are living it, that you are applying it in your words and actions, that there is no doubt that is where your faith is. right? That is what your faith is in. That is how you are demonstrating your faith. So we don't think of faith as an action so much, but our actions reveal the faith we have embodied. And so it is way beyond, thank you for that, it is way beyond just thinking more or thinking longer or harder, yes. Now you said you had two things. That was, no, just that.
Well, no, those were, the first was the epiphany that this, the first was the realization that science of the mind is about faith. And then the next one was that knowledge and wisdom is not about thinking harder.
Yes. Great, thanks.
Paraphrase Ernest
Your name
Holmes.
is?
My name is Brenda. Good morning. To paraphrase Ernest Holmes, the intellect can bring us to the edge, and something else must lift us over. So as one who came in with difficulty with faith or conviction or trust, what happened is still applying the process, the thought pattern, the techniques, the practices, the outcomes embodied, proved the faith. The scientific N became significant in number, that it was irrefutable. And from that starting place, what I learned is faith also requires action. So I'm going to ask you about that then continuation, because spirit in the creative process and we require selection. What do we want? What do we choose? An initiative, getting it in motion.
Absolutely. Embodiment is just action. Or action is a reflection of embodiment. They're together.
Hi, my name is Brenda also. And I just wanted to comment because coming from a very religious background, it was always instilled in me that blind faith, and that's never settled well with my logical mind. So I wanted to just mention something that I read one time that really provided comfort for me, and that was the idea that all things being in perfect balance in the universe, positive and negative, the idea that simply because we have a choice makes it guaranteed that everything will be goodness. Because the choice in and of itself and our desire for life means that it's impossible not for everything to continually, on an infinite scale, go towards goodness. And I guess for me, that behind just the blindness of, yes, my own ability to have faith, which sometimes is not great, and just that knowledge that on the base level of the universe, everything is always going towards goodness, always, 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 no matter what I think or do or anything, is always because of that impetus. So just wanted your comment and get your take on that as well.
That is so fabulous, Brenda. Thank you so much. And if you have been around CSLDallas any length of time, you have heard one or many of us say the phrase, everything is good or leading to good. And that is because, yes, the ultimate is good, the source is good, the ultimate outcome must be good, and anytime I am experiencing something that does not have the appearance of good, that's my signal to make a new choice. Right? I'm not destined to stay in the discomfort or in the discord. I get to make a new choice for what I want to do next, experience next, learn next, be next, because ultimate good is guaranteed. And what I'm experiencing right now is giving me the opportunity to say, no, I'm going to go this way. And then I may go that way for 10 years and realize, now I want to go this way. And I may go that way for 10 months and go, oh, that's not quite it either, and go this way, and then I find myself at the good that reflects my original intention or my sense of purpose, etc. So, yes, and all of it goes back to this idea of faith. All of it goes back to demonstrating the faith, or the last couple of weeks vitalizing our faith, and now looking at what is the technique. Well, the technique, I just have to read it one more time. The technique, of course, is one, understanding what it is that you are doing with faith, but realizing that all human misery is a result of ignorance, and nothing but knowledge can free us from this ignorance and its effect. That knowledge is the faith in what is possible, what I desire, how the universe works, and how I get myself in alignment with spiritual law. So I'm going to do one quick. Do we have anything online? No? Yes? Do we have?
Yes, I do have Carmen. Okay, Carmen. Second chance. Here we go. All right. Please unmute yourself and join us. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to say I'm really grateful, and I feel really, really special. It's because ironic. I'm working. I'm on this. We're all on this journey. But recently, I asked myself about what we're talking about today, and I received a download earlier this week, saying how I'm contradicting I create this whole new story, and it was a teaching of my energy, and how I say I'm this thing, I'm this bad chick, whatever, but the energy that I'm having is contradicting what I'm saying, and it's like I can't. You're moving it's just okay. So it's like I'm being inconsistent. My action is not adding up to the energy that I'm putting out, and it's like being mindful of more of my energy, because my energy is contradicting the way I move. And so so you're talking about faith and how it's on body and everything else. It's like this energy that I'm putting out is not what I'm speaking, and I'm not acting. And it's like I need to change the energy, and then once I change the energy that I'm putting out, my actions will change, will align to what I say that I am. And right now, it's like you're not. It's the energy part that's not connecting with. And so it's just like, and it's the consistency of the meditation of, like you said, studying science of mind or practicing science of mind, the meditation, the affirmations that will keep you aligned on that belief that that momentum you're trying to create, and the energy. So I was just saying, I'm just actually going through that on my own right now, and I feel special, like I was saying earlier, because I really feel like I'm loved, like spirit, like I'm connecting with myself, and that's a good thing to feel like I'm constantly connecting with myself. So I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to share that, Dr. Tracy.
And I am so glad you did, because there is nobody else online or in the room today who's ever had their actions contradict the image that they are creating. Yeah, nobody else, just you, Carmen. You're the only one in the world. And what excites me about that is that you are noticing it. Usually what happens in the general population is people do say, oh, I want this kind of life, or oh, I want to be this kind of person. And then, you know them and you watch them, and everything they say or do, or half of what they say or do, is a direct contradiction to what they say is important or what they have said is a priority for them. But they're oblivious to it. And so you're really modeling what does happen when we're doing this work in this community or any other Science of Mind community. You start to see yourself in the growth process. And so what I hope for you and anyone else who can relate to what you said is that you don't beat up on yourself. Actually, it's a celebration to go, oh, wait a minute. This isn't in alignment with who I know myself to be. Or, oh, I just did that thing again, but I don't do that anymore. Right? To reinforce the direction you're going. And you also are providing the perfect segue into next week, because when we come back next week and we're reading on page 161, I'm just going to give you one preview, but we'll actually do the whole section next week. The last paragraph in this section starts out, we should be careful not to divide our mental house against itself. And Carmen, you just described, oh, wait, I've got my mental house divided against itself, and that means we can work through that and then behave in alignment with the conviction of who we want to be. So that's our time today for the Science of Mind class at CSL Dallas. But before we go, we want you to know 2 or 3 things that are happening that you don't want to miss. And I'm going to ask Ryan to do that.
Well, thank you, Dr. Tracy Brown. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you. And you're here with us all month. We have amazing Sundays coming up for you each and every Sunday this month. Starting off with today, we have a Taizé service. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Taizé.
Taizé, thank you. And so this is going to be a month full of experientials, and we're so happy that you guys are here with us. And make sure that you're with us online as well, too, because it includes you. So we want to see you there. And also, today, if you're here at CSL Dallas, I don't know, Richard, you can kind of pan the room, but we have a fun sock hop that's going to be happening. It's a 1950s themed sock hop to help celebrate all of our volunteers. We love you. We can't have this place without you. So make sure that you're here. Grab a bite to eat, celebrate our volunteers, and come play some games. And then lastly, if you like this information that you're getting today, then I want to invite you to the Universal Spiritual Practices and Principles class with Dr. Petra. That's going to be happening later this month. It's an entry-level class, and it used to be a part of the Foundations class. So if you're looking to explore more of this philosophy, understand it at the basic concepts, and also have an amazing teacher, then I invite you to head over to our website, csldallas.org, and click on the Classes and Workshop tab and sign up today. That's all I've got for right now.
Great. Hope to see you in our celebration service. As Ryan said, every week this month on Sundays, the Sunday celebration service will be less talk and most feeling, doing, being in spiritual practice together. So please join us, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great week, everybody.